Hi, it's Lynn from LynnieCDesigns. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in West Sussex in the UK, and I'm coming back with the second part in my series of creating a desk calendar for 2022. So my first part, which I'll put a link to up here if you haven't seen it, see how I created these. I'm going to now create the stand for my calendar. And I've got one more sheet of cinnamon cider, and I'm going to actually show you how I create my base. I'll bring in my trimmer. Sorry about the shine. So I'm going to cut this down, and I'm going to cut it on the short side. I'm cutting it down to 11 centimeters wide. To one side, down to 29 centimeters, just a little sliver off there, and then I'm going to score it at 14 and a half. That's one part, and then with the remainder I'm going to cut this down. I want two pieces that are 7 centimeters by 11.5 centimeters to create a little receptacle for my bits. So that's 11.5, and I'm doing it this way, and I will show you why, so that I've got this bit. I'm going to pop those back on there, and I want to cut them down to 7 centimeters. Fabulous. So you've got those two, and I'm going to create a sort of little receptacle on that, and this piece I'm just going to score it. So let's see, that is 6 centimeters, 6 point set. Let's put that, I'll keep that as it is. I just want to put the cutter out of the way, score it at 1 centimeter on either end, and then I want to score it in the middle. Now that's why I love our trimmer, because it goes up to 4 centimeters. So when you've got a piece of card like this, you really don't have to work it out that much. You can just see on the scale up here that you want that in the middle of that card and score. So we're going to have a mountain, a valley and a mountain, and that's going to be our little stand to hold our stand up. Pop that to one side, and on both of these pieces I am going to, on the first one, I'm just going to score it at 1 centimeter. And I'm doing that there and sweeping it round and doing that at 1. But if you didn't want to do it that way, it's just 1 and 10.5. I'm going to do that to both. Just think, for when you're doing 1 centimeter, that's because I'm right-handed, there's a lot hanging off the edge and it could swivel, so it's easier for me to flip it round, and I can just see here that I'm doing at 1, so, and at 1, so you've got that exactly the same. But I want to actually do a cut out of one of them, so I'm going to put that at 2 centimeters. And I'm going to cut that down to 5 centimeters, and then I'm going to bring that up there, and I'm going to go up. So you can see now I must have moved that a little bit, so we'll come back down a little bit, and then we're going to turn it and we're going to cut between our 2 lines. Now there's a little indicator on our cutter that shows you where it's sort of cutting up to and from. Perfect, there we go, and that's spare. And we're going to create with this a little box. I'll take that out of the way now, and I'll get a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to snip straight up there to create some little tabs. And now I'm going to fold and burnish on all of those score lines. It is a little bit fiddly because it's only 1 centimetre. You could make it 1.5, but I was trying to keep this to a minimum, so I'm going to burnish those as well. And this bit I am actually going to snip up and snip off those little tabs there. Then we're going to stick this together. I'm going to get some of our tear and tape. I'm just going to pop some tape on all 3 of these tabs. This video will be going out on New Year's, so I would just like to wish all of my subscribers and anybody watching this a very happy new year. Let's hope that 2022 is a happy and healthy one for us all. I'm going to make this into a little box. So lining up on that score line, first one down, and then lining that up and folding that down. And we've got a nice little box there. I'm going to fold in that bit there. Right. Let's try and get this so that it is square. That'll do. Now, before I glue this together, I have already cut a gorgeous bit of DSP for the front. This is a sneak peek, a new papers which are absolutely lovely. There's beautiful florals on one side, and then on the other, a very plain sort of wood effect neutrals. So I'm going to stick that down on the front. And I'm going to keep this quite plain. Pop that down, and that DSP is half a centimetre smaller, so it is 10.5 centimetres by 14 centimetres, so you've got a little bit of a border, and you can see the cinnamon cider there. I'm going to reinforce that score line. I'm going to stick this on. Now I'm going to use some wet glue on here because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. I do love that word. So I'm going to put that down, not quite at the bottom, and it's smaller, so you just want to try and make it so that it's level. That's the only important thing. But I'm bringing it up about 3 millimeters maybe. Pop some more glue on there. You could use your favourite, you could use tear and tape, doesn't matter. And then pop that on there and just give it a little bit of a hold. And that then is our stand for our calendar. And this will go on the front. Again, you could put tear and tape, but I do love our wet glue. And I want this to be right down at the bottom, but in the middle. So the easiest way is to stand it up, I find. Sorry about the shadows. Let's put the room light on, see if that makes any difference. But you can see that's sort of in the centre and right at the bottom there. Fabulous. So I ummed and ahed about what to do with these, and I'm just going to keep them plain. We've got 6 pieces of basic white, and I'll show you some other samples that I've made where I'll show you the prototype, and I've adapted it slightly. So we're going to put 2 on each bit of 9 by 9, and I'm just going to put it right sort of central. It doesn't have to be perfect. What I do is lay out my months. Put glue on the back of all of those. And this glue is so sticky, well, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that this is my favourite glue. So we're glue there. May, June. July, August, September. I'm getting ahead of myself. October, last one. November and December. That's the only sad thing, I think. It would be quite nice to be able to put the year on these. Let's pop these together. Yes, it would have been really nice to have had the year to put on the calendar, and it's quite a snug fit for the whole year, but that's the way I designed it. So that goes like that. I didn't want to cover up the designer series paper, so I've cut a little bit of vellum using one of the rectangle stitch dies, and I have the, just with cinnamon cider again, I've cut the numbers. Now, so here's my silicone mat. A little bit of glue. Try not to do too much. That'll do. And I will get my tweezers. Not quite central, but it doesn't matter. Now, the other thing I wanted to put on here, so what I would normally do with vellum is I would then add glue behind those bits and pieces, but I'm also going to add some honeybees, and these honeybees are from another new, this is a sneak peek, this is from the Honeybee home stamp set, which is in the mini catalogue, which will be going live for customers on the 4th of January. And if you haven't got a demonstrator and you'd like a copy of the catalogue and our celebration catalogue, then please get in touch. My contact details will be in the description box below. So I don't think I'm going to add those. Am I going to add those beforehand? No, I'm not. But I can actually put in some extra glue after I've decided where my honeybees are going to go. So let's not too much, so we'll just rub a little bit of that off. But thankfully it will dry clear. I'm going to pop that down sort of centrally. Everything's always a little bit wonky when it comes to me. And I may actually pop those up on mini dimensionals. There we are. These were stamped on white, a little bit of basic white cardstock and coloured with stamping blends. Now we've got, yep, he's going to come in from there. She's going to flutter in from that side. So actually they're holding that down as well. So there we go. I will show you quickly. That stands up nicely like that. And if you were giving this as a gift, there's plenty of space on here on the back to actually write a little message. So this was the first one that I did, and I just wanted a slightly smaller one. And I just made this little box, and I like it, I love it. And I did separate cards. I did 12 cards, so there's one for each month. And as you can see, I've put a little bit of designer paper, and then I've done some stamping on those cards. I'll put pictures of all of these on the blog. But it's just a little bit top heavy, and these are prone to falling. So I mean, it's lovely, and I'm keeping that one, that's mine, but they do kind of fall out. So what I found best is to put half of them in the back, and that kind of anchors it a little bit, gives it a bit more stability. So I was toying with this idea. Now this idea, obviously the box, normally we have a mini tear-off calendar. In the past I've done tear-off calendars here, and in here would be a post-it note, but actually they fit in there. This is another sneak peek of some DSP that you can earn for free with a qualifying order during Celebration. And again, the white bits, I have either done some stencils, using some of our stencils, current stencils, to apply colour, a bit of a rainbow colour there, or I've used with blending brushes, or I've just added colour with the blending brushes. So that's another really pretty set. There will be pictures and dimensions, and all of the instructions will be on my blog, and there will be links below in the description box. So thank you for bearing with me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you again next Sunday. Take care, be safe, and leave me a comment if you're watching this, because I would really love to know what you think of my videos, and if there's anything specific that you would like to see from me. Bye for now.